Where should I begin? I'd never met anyone like him, not even remotely, beyond charismatic. He was, I can't bear to think about it really, why I was so entranced by all he said and did, all that wasted potential. Why had he recruited me? I wasn't one of the inner circle. I was just an also-ran, a fixer. Well, there were certain perks. I was useful, even if I wasn't teacher's pet like Peter, John or James, Holy Joes. They were on the same page as him most of the time, if a bit slow on the uptake. It wasn't about him, Jesus. Whatever his enemies thought, it never was. Even when he was feted by the crowds, he pointed beyond himself to God. Our God, now confined to his curtained boudoir on Temple Heights, the private sign outside the door, and his little priestly minions floating in and out like bees at a hive. Jesus was connecting to that decidedly other being. Somehow, the things he did and said, the healer, the deliverer of the impossible, the essence of compassion, the things that cannot be, simply were. Everything he touched, like that old Greek legend, Midas, was it? His focus never wavered, even at the very end, even when But I do think he'd lost his way. Our land hadn't been our own for years, you know. It was simply a land grab with the Romans. These territories were useful resources, corridor to greater power. No change there then. They were just the latest. But they were messing with God's chosen race. He always rescues us in the end. It wasn't just me who thought Jesus must be the one. There was something about him. Never mind his humble family background, his disinterest in politics and power games. Without him so much as lifting a finger or raising his voice, the powers that be wanted him run out of town, even before Jerusalem. I did wonder, when we approached the city, and he somehow made his arrival chime in with all those ancient prophecies, the streets erupting with joy, whether he was about to come good after all, give us our country back, oust the infidels. There was a groundswell, our very own king again, not like that puppet Herod, there to keep the natives sweet and doing anything but. Jesus was descended from David after all. But instead of capitalising on that surge in popularity, he slithered under a stone and instead made it all about the praying, the teaching, the healing, serving, even foot washing. If he'd played by the rules in the temple, you know, this might never have happened. Nobody wanted trouble on the festival. Poking the temple bees was stupid. Stick with your Galilee stronghold. Don't plant your flag on somebody else's fortress. Even Pilate knew that. Temple insiders singled me out. While Jesus was engaging with the pilgrims, I suppose they'd seen me holding the purse strings, swapping the filthy Roman lucre for proper currency and paying our temple tax. Jesus was already under surveillance. And the high priest? Oh, well, the high priest was recruiting. Some might say I was being used, but that windfall could buy me a whole new life. If Jesus was about to become yesterday's news, I wasn't joining him, whatever the others said. I was still young. What about my family? Security? Amnesty? Call it what you like. I could see the way the wind was blowing. If it hadn't been for Jesus telling the others there was an informant during that Last Supper, naturally they all wondered who. He knew all right. Actually told me to go and get on with it, like it was part of my job description. But was that pity on his face as he watched me go? Maybe that was why I was there. He knew that I was just paying lip service to the plight of the poor. It was pitch dark in Gethsemane, apart from the torches. They made me identify him. Appalling. But they could have got the wrong man. Kissing him. That looked worse than two-faced. Lip service again. You think it's my fault? Love and self-sacrifice were never going to make a new world. Even then, even if his weird Messiah complex made me cringe, even if I was never a favourite, underneath it all, I still loved him. True and humble King, help us to see beyond appearances, to be less quick to judge and dismiss, to find you in the poorest, meanest places, to share your compassion and live peaceably, to ponder our actions and be prepared to change, that we may bless more than we hurt, and keep your love alive. Amen.